Started. Two, and it just end the presentation and start it again. So I will have the proper time. Oh, can we open it? 5 minutes. Right. Okay. Okay. So maybe on my screen. Okay. Should I start? Okay. It is estimated that there are about 500,000 people who are blind or visually impaired in Australia. The most main issue for these people is navigate in unknown places. To help them with that, a very common method that is used is the white cane. The subject of this study is to develop a method to find the synchronization between the cane and the leg movement. So here is the outline of my presentation. First, I will introduce you the context of the project. Then I will talk about the human gait cycle, and especially about the synchronization between both legs. Then I will speak about the movement of the cane and the synchronization between this movement and the leg movement. After that, I will introduce the real-time algorithm that we developed to do that. And finally, I will speak about the second generation of IMU that we have developed. So first, the context of this project. The project is part of the Wayfinding project, which is held in Curtin University right now. The Wayfinding project has as main aim to provide new tools to improve vision impaired people navigation. So it involves several PhD students on different topics such as object and pathway identification, map rebuilding, and localization using gait analysis. The first point of this presentation will be the human gait cycle. The human gait cycle can be divided in two main phases and 8 subphases. The two main phases are the stance and the swing. During the stance, the reference foot is in contact with the ground, and during the swing, the reference foot is swinging above the ground. The 8 subphases are defined by their starting and stopping points, and the main important point for study is the initial contact point of both legs. So the first one is the start of the loading response, and the second one, which is the initial contact of the opposite leg, is the end of the terminal stance of the reference leg. One preliminary study of this work was to match these 8 subphases to the tie angle shape. To compute the tie angles, we have used IMUs that were developed by another project member. These IMUs features a 9-axis sensor composed by 3-axis accelerometer, gyroscope and magnetometer, a marginal Remy board, and RS transmitter. By integrating the gyroscopic data, we can obtain the tie angle. The tie angle shape that we found is the following. As you can see, we have 2 maximums and 2 minimums, one in the middle of the 2 closed maximums and one on the other side of the pattern. So the matching of this curve and the 8 subphases has been done by another group member as well. But we found out recently that it wasn't probably 100% accurate. Actually, the initial contact point should be the minimum between the 2 closed maximums, and the initial contact point of the other leg, which is the end of terminal stance of the reference leg, should be the global minimum of the shape. So to study the synchronization between these two legs, we should be able to find a synchronization between both of the triangles of the two legs. That's what we did next. So we have plotted the two triangles of both legs on the same graph, and we can see that all the minima are correlated. To develop an algorithm that can find this minima, we have inspected the zero crossing of the derivative of this angle, which is the gyroscopic data that we had at the beginning. So these gyroscopic curves are following, but when we were working on this, we had multiple zero crossing problems, so we decided to set up a filter and to filter the data. The chosen filter was a fourth order Butterworth filter with a color frequency of 10 Hz. Then we obtained these curves, which are well smoother, and we were able to find the negative zero crossings for referring to minimums of the triangle shape. The curve has been delayed by the filtering step, but as the delay is consistent between the two curves, the synchronization remains exactly the same. We have tested this algorithm on 4 people, and the results are quite good because the time difference between the initial contact points detected by both angles are, for 80% of them, in the plus minus 40 millisecond interval, which is quite restricted. For subject 2 and subject 3, one of the legs has led to not so good ratio with 62% and 40%, but it's probably due to a non-symmetrical way of working by those people. Finally, we have assumed that these points are well correlated, so we're going to assume that all the initial contact points of both legs can be found with the minimum of one particular leg triangle. After that, I'm going to present the movement of the cane. The basic rule for the movement of the cane is that the cane should always scan the zone where the next foot is going to land. That means that when the right foot is leading, the cane should scan the zone on the left-hand side of the body where the left foot is going to be in. So from that you can see that the synchronization between the cane movement and the leg pattern is quite important. The right-to-left movement can be studied from the gyroscopic and the angle around a vertical axis. This angle is periodical with clear minimums and maximums that can be found easily by the zero crossing of the gyroscopic data. This gyroscopic data has been filtered as well in order to apply the same delay, so the synchronization remains between all the data. You have also 3 key techniques that are used by vision impaired people: the 2-point touch, the constant touch, and the touch and slide. The difference between them is the right-to-left movement that can be either sliding on the ground or swinging above the ground. These techniques have their own particular use. The 2-point touch is used most of the time, but a vision impaired person can use the constant touch technique when he's trying to find a step, for example, and the touch and slide technique when walking around the wall. So it's going to slide to the wall and come back by a single movement. To determine which technique is used, we have developed a method based on the accelerometer. In fact, when the tapping point is there, we can find a peak in the acceleration of the cane. So the only thing that we do is finding the end of movement either on the right or on the left, and checking around this point if there is a peak of the acceleration. If there is one, it's a starting point, and if it isn't there, this is a sliding point. By computing the ratio of the starting point on the total number of points, so the taping plus the sliding point, we can match the technique that is used. If it's one on both sides, that means that all the points are starting points and that we are using the two-point touch technique. If it's zero on both sides, the constant touch technique can be used. And if it's one on one side and zero on the other, the constant side technique has been used, and we know on which side the starting points are. So we can know, for example, on which side the wall is. This algorithm has also been tested by two people. The first one was a case instructor from the Association for the Blind in Victoria Park. And we were right on 90% of the points to detect if it's a taping or sliding point. For the second subject, who was myself, this ratio is 95%. In both cases, we were always able, at 100%, to determine which technique was used. So now we are going to study the synchronization that exists between the cane movement and the leg movement. To do that, we have plotted the gyroscopic curve of the cane and the right side. As we can see, the negative velocity of the side seems to be correlated with all the zero crossings of the cane gyroscope. This is accurate because on the initial contact point, we should have the end of the movement of the cane on the other side. So we have computed an algorithm to match the time difference that exists between two related points. That means when right foot initial contact point is fine, we are doing the time difference with the closest left-hand side end of movement of the cane. This time difference was computed for the cane instructor from the association, and as you can see, the time difference is very short, about 100 milliseconds. So that means that these 2 points are well correlated and that the technique is used properly. For the second subject, who was myself, the mean is higher for the 2 first methods, 4 first samples. It's probably because I'm not a keen user, so I'm probably not using it 100% properly and really accurate. The 2 last methods, so the 4 last samples, were wrong methods that are used by new keen users. The first one is the wrong frequency. For the wrong frequency, the keen user is sliding from one side to the other side every 2 steps instead of every step. We can see that because we can find this error with the standard deviation, which is going to be very high in this particular case. For the second common mistake, it's the wrong synchronization. This mistake is to scan the right-hand side of the body when the right foot is leaning. This leads to a standard deviation which is not bad, so the error is consistent, but the mean is very important because it's equal to what it should be minus half of the stride cycle. Finally, we have implemented all of these in real-time algorithms. 3 algorithms were built, one on each INU and one on the dongle, who was an Arduino Uno board. The time code is just looking for all the time where the initial contact points are and which foot is leading. Then it's sending all this information to the dongle through the radio. The cane INU is doing the same. It's looking for all the ends right or left, and see if it's a tapping or sliding point, and send all this information again to the dongle. From all those information, the dongle code has been able to compute the time differences between the correlated points and to determine the chain method in real time. So we have tested this algorithm with, by modifying it to send the gyroscopic curve outward. As you can see, all the points of interest have been found by the IMUs. Finally, we have developed a second generation of IMUs. This was done because we would like to replace the dongle device by a mobile one, such as a smartphone. So new IMUs are using Bluetooth technology because it's probably the best way to communicate with a smartphone or a tablet. It features as well the same 9-axis sensor, an Arduino primary board, and battery. The Arduino primary board was chosen because it's the smallest Arduino board available on the market, and Arduino is very convenient for those kind of projects because it's open source, it's quite easy to use, and you have a strong community on the internet that can allow you to share projects and to reply to your questions. Another improvement of the second generation of IMU is the shape of these IMUs, who are just longer but thinner. The new 3D printed shells has been designed in order to improve the fixing system. So, for example, the cane mount is curved on its button to match the cane curve. The price of these new IMUs has been computed as well, and the total price is about $32.60, which is nearly equal to 22 euros. This is really cheap compared to what's available in the market, because on the market we have to look for IMUs who are able to use Bluetooth technology to communicate, to run short programs, to do some pre-processing, and as well as having at least a 3-axis accelerometer and gyroscope. The cheapest IMU that we found was $300. So cheap devices are quite important, especially when we are working with vision impaired people, because these people are more likely to lose things because they cannot see them. So cheap devices mean easy to replace. Finally, the conclusion is that we have developed a real-time method to find the synchronization between the leg movements and the hand movements. We were also able to determine which technique is used. We could identify the two main commonalities, and we have developed a second generation of sensors. To use this generation of sensor, the future work is to develop an Android application to replace the dongle device, which has to be user-friendly and to integrate the existing algorithms that have been built. Finally, more data has to be captured for the study, especially by chain users who are familiar with the white chain. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, I will be happy to try to answer it. Yes, so that's done.
Just before we take questions, I think it might be worthwhile if you explain why you don't, what is the application for this device? Is it just interesting, or is there a reason for doing it?
Yeah, I should have this. Okay, so the main reason is to provide new tools for cane training program. So we would like that the Android application should be able to provide some real-time feedback to the cane user in order to see, okay, no, you are using the key properly, or pay attention to synchronization because it's not good at the moment. So yeah, this can be a first use of this project. The second one can also be that we can use the key data to improve maybe the mean series gate computation of the step length. Yeah. Do you have any questions? So, does anyone have any question or remark about anything?
Yes, do you listen?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, maybe just question of the use is what we do. Is it sufficiently powerful to handle the different tasks? You don't have any problem of the timing for the sampling of the signals and...
No. Okay, so the question was, is Arduino powerful enough to do all this computation? No, we don't have any issue with that, because this is just, I think it's a good microprocessor. And the tasks are this is very low computation by the end. It's just doing some addition and subtraction. So, sorry? Yes. Yeah, but and the major issue that we have was losing packets during the transmission with the radio. So, and I think Bluetooth transmission will be more accurate than the radio one.
And when you look at the single value, you don't have counting in sample.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, that's why we also do pre-processing. Yeah, that's why we do pre-processing on both INUs to send only the points of interest. Yeah, and not all of the data. That's what we were doing at the beginning. So does it reply to your question?
Yes, of course. It's just because when using Arduino, we found that sometimes it was quite limited in computation, and it was sometimes difficult to have a consistent sampling frequency because of that.
Yeah, but yeah, the sampling frequency is done by the INUs themselves. Yeah, this is Arduino board. That's it's a very low sampling frequency. It's only 100 samples per second. So yeah, this is we haven't had any issue with that. Okay, so this.
Okay, so now can I work?
Yeah, thank you.
Another point, if you want to go ahead with think of high-end computers and stuff like farm computing and so on, because of this issue. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
From the very beginning, we were looking at simple computation, not farm computing.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, all the computation that are done are just basic, and I try to avoid. It's explained in the report that I try to avoid like square roots and even multiplication, because I know that it's kind of big computation regarding like if you compare it to just additional subtraction. So yeah, I try to optimize the code in order to limit the number of operations. So does someone have a question? Do you have another question maybe?
No, not especially. So I don't know if you have more questions. So when we have towards the end, I just have a few comments, mostly for the procedure for your mask.
Okay.
Easy here. I don't know if there are still questions ongoing, so maybe I
Okay.
just say that at the end.
Okay, so he's saying that he hasn't any question left, but he has some remarks, especially for the marking and so on, so he can do that by the end. So maybe further questions? Okay. So maybe can you help me with that? Because I'm not. Okay. So is there anyone in Sri Lanka who has a question? Or I cannot hear you properly.
Can you hear me? Yes?
No, I can. Yes. Could you repeat, please?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. My question is, how you handle your data? Is there any lightweight process to transfer data between screen and mobile device?
I haven't understood well.
What he is asking is there any special lightweight method of transferring data from one device to the other device?
No.
Just for that.
Yeah, it's just for data. Send it through the radio, and no, I hope that we are going to do by Bluetooth, but yeah, no, we don't have compression or anything. Because we haven't needed that. It was quite working well. Like as is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only a few samples per second. The sample rate is 100 samples per second in both IMUs. So okay, is there another question? Maybe here? I don't know. Would you have a question? Oh, okay. Yes?
It's just something that I've not completely understood from your presentation is the way the feedback will be sent to the person. What kind of signal will you use to... So what I'm guessing is that your tool is designed for helping the person to better use the cane.
Yes, that's it.
To diagnose some desynchronized use of the chain, for instance, and so all will use feedback this information to the person. Is it a feedback that is coming afterwards, offline, or would you like to send the feedback really online by, I don't know, again, on a smartphone, a tone, so there's a beep if everything is going well, and another sound if things are not going well?
Yes. So yes, this is one of the work that should be done on the new Android application. Is to provide feedback. It can, of course, it cannot be done visually because it's for vision impaired people, but it can be done either by sound or by vibration. Yeah. So we already use some devices for using vibration and sound. One device was developed by another group member to detect the distance between the nearest wall or something like that, and it can be done like with vibration and sound. So yeah, these are two main techniques.
It would not be more natural to use the device which is put on the leg, on the thigh. It would not be more, what?
Yeah, this is kind of a great idea.
The feeling is that it is better analysis because you have one on the screen.
I haven't had the question. So.
Yeah. So we were thinking, would it not be more convenient to not multiply the devices and just use the device which is on the cane and the device which is on the leg, and to feed back to the person with the device on the leg, on the thigh.
Yeah.
Because you could imagine to send this vibration, for instance, on this device. What I'm a little bit afraid with the smartphone and all these things is that it's a very complicated equipment altogether. The person needs to have several boxes, and it's not very nice for him.
Yeah. So yeah, my idea at first was to use the smartphone as the IMU of the leg, but the issue that we had is that it's not properly fixed to the leg, so it's moving in the pocket, and we don't have like fixed axis regarding the thigh, so we're not able to find which axis we have to integrate, and yeah, to see which axis we have to work on.
This one, we want the accuracy, manipulating, looking at alignment and moving.
Yes. So that's.
So the accuracy is not really to make sure it's hard.
Yeah. So what Dr. Jens just said is that we are just wanted something accurate, so we are using proper sensors, but afterwards we can just investigate about how to make the phone not moving in a pocket or yeah. Yeah.
Because many people are using smartphones, so smartphone is not an internet.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and we can even imagine that we can develop a third generation of sensor which is embedded in the cane. That would be just awesome, because yes, these are just prototypes, but yeah, it has to be improved. Definitely, it's just the first step. Yeah, that's true. So, yeah. Does it reply to your question?
Yes, of course, no problem.
Okay, perfect. Should anyone else have a question or remark? Anything? Yes.
If you go back to your form 21, there was some comments that you got the synchronization with China.
26 or 20? I think I know what you want to do. I like. '25 and '26, that's it. Just let it. Oh. I will close it and start again. Okay. So
How critical are those points? 250 milliseconds. So it seems fairly regular, but the time now is fairly standard.
yes.
But is this actually going to affect the way a person uses the cane?
I don't think so, because it's like only three tenths of a second, so it's still quite synchronized. The major mistake is having a synchronization time like half a second, because it means that half a second.
This is the sort of error we're looking for to try and get them correct.
Yeah, that's it. So I think 3 tenths of a second is quite big, because it's a quarter of the stride cycle. A stride cycle is about 1.2 seconds. So yeah, it's quite a big mistake, but again, I'm not used to the cane, so I'm not using it properly, I think. Yes, so this is kind of interesting to compare these results with the results from the cane instructor, the investigation, which are much better. So, any other questions? Some remarks? About the slide?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So maybe we can. Oh, thanks. Yeah, maybe we can listen to your comments now, because nobody has remaining questions.
Okay, so it's very brief. So I just wanted to, first of all, of course, thank Yale and the group